Hello from Student Services. We hope that you are enjoying your virtual Writers Week experience. Writing is a great way to communicate our creativity and ideas to the world. We appreciate all the effort and bravery that go along with the sharing of any art form. In the event that one of these talks brings up some difficult reactions or feelings, feel free to connect with Student Services in one of these ways. Email your counselor, schedule a Zoom with your counselor through Sign Up Genius, call Student Services for any assistance by calling Friends main number or dialing 847-755-2630. For a more immediate concern, an on-call person is available during blocks 1 to 4 on the Zoom link that has been posted to your class Schoology page or scanning this QR code. We would be happy to talk with you in any of these ways. Enjoy the week.
Hello, everyone. It's Mr. Dawson, and welcome to Writers Week 27, the Zoom edition. It's wonderful seeing all of you today, and thanks for taking part in Writers Week for the 27th year. This is a great tradition, and I'm really happy that I get to introduce the students, which is the lifeblood of Writers Week. Of course, we get to see really great professional writers, but the students are the lifeblood and what makes Writers Week great. So I'm happy that I get to introduce it. Before we do that, though, it's important that we thank a whole bunch of people. I'm sure that you've heard this already, but we have to thank the boosters. They're the ones that helped put this on, helped support us so that we can make sure that we do this even in the middle of a pandemic. And thank your English teacher, too. If you see them in person, point at them and say, hey, thanks for showing us this. And if you're at home on Zoom, turn on your camera and look at your teacher and say, hey, thanks for showing us this. This is a great opportunity. I'm really excited that you guys get to see it and that we can still do Writers Week. So without further ado, take it away, students.
Hi, my name is Shruti Patankar. I'm a sophomore. And quick shout out to Miss Burdick's first period honors English class. You guys are the best. And this is a narrative piece I wrote called Miss Trunchbull. It's about body hair, and yes, you can laugh. Most little girls have a list of things they want for their holiday of choice, be that Christmas, Diwali, Eid, or Hanukkah. Kids are weird. My lists for Diwali growing up included Barbies, screwdrivers, a new older sister, and a marker set. The strangest thing I ever asked for, however, was to wax my brows. Or rather, my singular brow. I remember the first time I got made fun of for being hairy at school in first grade. Another Indian girl told me I had something on my lip and then dragged me over to the mirror to show me. My mommy said only boys have mustaches, she said. I remember my only reply being, but I'm not a boy. My favorite color is pink. Irrelevant gender norms aside, I think the most problematic thing was that another fellow hairy South Asian girl called me out on my facial hair. I'll bet you $20 her mommy went to the same brow lady as my mom. Later that month, I snuck into my parents' bathroom, climbed up to look at my face in the mirror, and stared down my mustache. Here's the thing with insecurities. When someone points them out, they're all you can see, whether you're 7 or 71. Barely able to balance on the stool, I reached for my father's razor and tried to shave my mustache just as I'd seen him groom his. The blade barely touched my skin before blood began flowing out, and I panicked and dropped the razor, reaching for a tissue as the razor fell to the sink. My dad ran into the bathroom, his initial surprise morphing into disappointment. Being an Indian girl dad, he was prepared to push me into math classes with all male students and make me watch international cricket games. But he wasn't prepared to tell his elementary school kid that as long as she felt like a girl, she was one. He bandaged up my cut, talked over it with my mother, and after a reassuring conversation that I did not, in fact, have a mustache, we never talked about it again. However, as most children of immigrants recognize, just because your parents don't bring it up doesn't mean it goes away, just like that B- sitting in Infinite Campus or your secret boyfriend. I spent the next years of my life silently observing billboards, commercials, movies, and TV, where women had not a single hair on their face, legs, or arms. I couldn't figure out why some women, like my grandma, very obviously had arm hair, and why some women didn't. Many of the Caucasian girls around me weren't hairy either, or their lighter hair didn't show up as well. Black hair on brown skin started to feel like a curse, a cruel joke my genes played on me. My biggest concern was that Miss Trunchbull from Matilda was quite hairy, which translated into my fear that I would one day turn into a child-throwing, tyrannical monster. It was pretty clear to me. Beautiful and successful women were not hairy, and I felt that if I wanted to be a beautiful and successful woman, I needed to be hairless. Therefore, I asked my mother to wax my brows. Her first reaction was surprise. "Why would you want to do that?" she asked. Being the well-articulated child I was, I gestured at my face. "I think it's pretty obvious, Ma." After some debate, she went ahead and transformed my one brow into two, turning me around to observe her work. My first thought was that I basically looked the same, but then I realized I needed to bask in the glory of this extremely mature endeavor. After the redness went away and I stopped looking like an angry bird, I relished the newness of my two brows for all of 3 weeks. No one noticed a difference, but I was sure that I looked like a middle schooler, the ultimate dream. From then on, I was only more focused on removing all the hair that had formed the crux of my insecurities, only encouraged by all my peers that were doing the same. If I had to tell my 11-year-old self anything, I'd start with telling her she was definitely good at math, but she had to tone down all the denim on denim looks. More importantly, I tell her that no one notices if your brows aren't done or your mustache is visible in the neon lights. No one cares if your leg hair shows in your shorts or your arms are particularly hairy at the beach. People that view women having hair as something shameful are being incredibly shallow, small-minded, and callous, and they're someone you don't want to keep around anyway. I tell her to stop wishing her hair was blonde and to be thankful for her thick, frizzy Indian hair that would one day eventually turn into a shiny wave. I tell her that one day she'll wake up and amid math homework and driver's ed applications, she'll realize that brow waxing is simply a way for her to feel beautiful, not to fit in. I only wish that I, and countless other little girls around the world, surrounded with billboards and movie stars and other people that shame them for body hair, knew that sooner. Oh, and Miss Trunchbull was hairy, but she got stuff done, didn't she? That's it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aria. I am a junior, and I'd like to quickly shout out Mrs. Christensen's first period, Mrs. Eng's 5th period, and Mr. Anderson's 7th period. This is a poem I wrote called Seeking Out a Journey. Seeking out what one doesn't have. A ship out at sea without a dock. A herd of sheep lost in the field. A fire rising and falling till it's ash. A baby fawn crying out to its mother. A bird without a nest. Can life continue? Can someone live without hope? Is hope necessary? If you take a second to breathe, will everything be okay? Maybe I can try to understand. When hope isn't lost, the ship shall find a dock. The herd of sheep shall be found by their shepherd. The fire shall never die. The baby fawn shall find its mother. The bird shall find a new nest. And I shall not be alone. I will be found. With honey sweetness laced on my tongue, I'll find what I've been searching for. It'll be a long journey. Am I ready for it? By no means, but I'll do it anyways. Because as long as someone has hope, they can do anything. Well, maybe not anything. I mean, bears exist, but life continues, and so should you. As a wise man once said, don't stop believing. And as another wise man once said, carry on my wayward son. So now it's time. Let this journey be worth everything you give to it. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily Kao and I'm a sophomore. This is my first time doing Writers Week, and I wrote this speech for an informative speech assignment in English. I've never seen an informative speech at Writers Week, and there's probably a reason why, so if I bore you, I'm sorry, but if you're interested, this is my speech titled Too Cute to Handle. Take a look at these photos. What do they have in common? I'd say they're pretty cute, and you most likely do too. What can be cuter than those puppy dog eyes or those chubby cheeks? Even though these babies and puppies look like the most innocent things on earth, do you find yourself clenching your fists, grinding your teeth? Do you want to reach into your screen and squeeze them and just scream? As peculiar as this may sound, you're actually experiencing a phenomenon dubbed cute aggression. And trust me, this doesn't come from a place of malice. Cute aggression got its name from a social psychologist by the name of Oriana Aragon, and it's the term for the emotional response that is triggered when people see something cute. You may think that cute aggression is random, and the weird phrases that cross your mind, such as, I just want to eat you up, or I want to squeeze you till you pop, are borderline psychopathic, but you aren't alone. This response is scientifically hypothesized to be a function of more complex brain systems, and as you will learn later, it is also a product of evolution. Now, let's find out what the heck is going on in our brains when we experience it, and how we ended up with this odd feeling in the first place. If your cute aggression was precipitated by these photos, you were experiencing the ignition of two contending brain systems. According to a study conducted at Yale University and published by Frontiers, cute aggression functions in a larger scheme of emotional responses called dimorphous emotions, which refers to experiencing a strong feeling one way but expressing it in an opposite way, like crying when you're happy. They are hypothesized to regulate overwhelmingly positive emotion. According to Insider, cuteness overloads the brain with stimuli that causes an antsy feeling, which is expressed as the dimorphous emotion of aggression. The idea is that these negative emotions help people get control of the positive ones, causing the body to short circuit. In addition to the role of cute aggression as a dimorphous emotion, its roots also lie in our brain's reward systems. The Yale study previously mentioned also tested this hypothesis through EEG readings obtained from participants who were shown cute photos. The reward processing system activity was represented by Rho P, and its correlation to cute aggression can be seen in this graph. They had a direct correlation. As the cute aggression ratings increased, so did the magnitude of the activity in the reward processing systems. According to an NPR podcast, the brain's reward systems and emotional structures work tirelessly, sending out loads of stimuli to balance each other out. This conflict culminates in cute aggression because the aggression as a dimorphous emotion actually helps us get off the cuteness reward system high. So technically, humans crave a cuteness drug. Cute babies are guilty of being among the most common sources of a cuteness drug, but they are also actually one of the main reasons we experience these emotions in the first place. According to the Smithsonian Magazine, aggression's role as a coping mechanism for handling the overwhelming response evoked by cuteness has its own evolutionary advantage. Imagine you're taking care of one cute baby. If you didn't have the help of dimorphous emotions to check the overwhelming feelings your brain is flooded with, the overstimulation would take over your brain and impair you from your responsibilities as a caretaker. Cute aggression also has yet another unfrequented advantage in making us better caretakers. According to the New York Times, those who happened to experience this aggression long ago were actually given a small boost of energy when they saw their cute children. The urge to squeeze provided them with the extra motivation to hold their babies for hours at a time. So these ancestors who somehow ended up with an efficient cute aggression system were actually better caretakers, making their offspring more likely to survive and making it more likely for you to have this adaptation too. Now you finally know why this peculiar urge occurs and why it is in fact beneficial to us. By seeing what it is, we are not only given insight into the specific response to stimuli, but an overall look at mechanisms within the brain. So do me a favor and squeeze your cute babies, puppies, and people a little harder for me knowing that there's no harm. Except for maybe some pinched chubby cheeks, which I unfortunately know from experience.
Hi, I'm Lily, and this is The Trouble with Sirens. It's calling me, your voice. The water enters my lungs, but I remain calm. I plunge deeper beneath the waves, your voice echoing in my thoughts. My eyes shoot open. I'm alive. My legs, once bound by rope, now fused together into a powerful tail. I no longer struggle to breathe. I smile, then take off towards your ship. You'll realize the mistake you've made. You'll scream as I drag you further from the surface. Your ship is in my sight now, my lips curled into a cruel smile. I call to the others, the ones who've ended just like me. They come by the thousand, sharp nails scraping and clawing at your boat's belly. We hear you and your men crying out, praying out to someone, anyone, to rescue you from your already sealed fate. But all in vain. The salty sea rushes to swallow you whole. A haunting melody encircles you. Our raspy voices pull you in ever closer. We've devoured your fear and soak in your pain, the sea claiming another vessel. The last thing you lay your eyes upon is my toothy grin, revenge for the world of hurt you've caused, regret in every fiber of your being. Hissing and cackling, our gathering disperses. I swim through the darkness, hounding out another vessel to destroy. Another ship? Goodness, that's the 6th one this week. The man furrowed his eyebrows. He had never seen this many reports of vessels being lost at sea before. The man ran his hands through his gray-streaked raven hair. The door swung open, and in rushed a much younger man. Mr. Brayton, sir, there's a bit of a problem. The older man turned to look at the other. Ah, Lance, my boy, what seems to be the issue? Lance took a moment to regain his composure before answering. Whew. There's been a lot of people coming in, claiming to know what's been causing the ships to go missing, but their answers point at fictitious creatures, sir. Mr. Brayton paused for a moment. Fictitious creatures? Were these people inhibited by anything that could cloud their mind? Surely they must know how ridiculous that is. Lance pulled at his shirt. Yes, sir, they know, but most of them seem sound of mind. Mr. Brayton furrowed his eyebrows once again. I see. Were they referring to sirens? The young man nodded. Something flashed in the older man's eyes. He paused before speaking again. Yes, well, I have some errands for you to run today. Best not to waste any more daylight. Lance was confused, but decided against pressing further. He left as hurriedly as he had came. Mr. Brayton, on the other hand, was very slow to continue his day. His mind was plagued with the creatures of the deep. He knew something was coming. He just hoped his young friend was prepared. Nightfall was upon him as Lance got closer to the docks. The last item on the list read, Shipment readings from Mr. Milligan. He internally groaned. Mr. Milligan was perhaps the rudest person working at the docks. Having been there since the day it first opened, he got more bitter and world-weary with every passing year. Really, the only reason he was still working was because he did his job year-round, never once vacationing, leaving no opportunity for slackers to take his place, as he fondly put it. Lance dragged his feet to Mr. Milligan's work office and knocked half-heartedly at his door. A series of shouts and crashes ensued, followed by the swift opening of the front door. What in the... Treventer! Why in all of Strathmore would you be rapping at my door this late? Don't you have other people to bother? Lance huffed. I'm here for the shipment readings for Mr. Brayton. Mr. Milligan scowled. I'm here for the shipment's readings for Mr. Brayton, sir, to you. Also, don't come here this late. It's too dangerous to be out, especially for someone like you. The young man was almost out of patience. Just give me the stupid readings so I can leave you and your sour mood alone. Mr. Milligan's free hand shook in rage. Fine, Trevender. Just get out of my sight. The old man hobbled inside before returning with the papers. Shoving them into his face, Mr. Milligan slammed the door on an absolutely livid Lance. And that's it. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Nate Tofilon. I'm a junior, and I would like to share with you a poem that I wrote that is called COVID's Confessions. Hi, I'm COVID, coronavirus, spread like fire, touch like Midas. I make humans sit in silence. No more violence. Just kidding. I make humans' jobs go missing. No more kissing, or touching, or shaking hands, or hugging. This is all the stuff I'm loving. It. McDonald's, spread around the world like Ronald. I ain't slowing down, no brakes, full throttle. Across the globe, like an S-tier model. I'm chilly, ice all in me. I get inside like Santa in a chimney. I know you'll miss me. Don't worry, I ain't leaving for a while. No rush, no hurry, Oreo McFlurry. I'm cold. You can't contain me, I'm uncontrolled. Swimming in the sea with a smile of gold. Multiplying on a box of Cheerios. Water on my neck, I attack the old. But for everybody else, I gotta team up to make it. Just like how LeBron needed Anthony Davis and Kyrie and Wade. I don't know why I do it, because I'm never getting paid. Maybe I'll go back to that lab where I was made. Like a high schooler trying to get a good grade. I cheat and I lie and I pray. Just kidding. From country to country I was passed off. To the top of the worldwide news, it's a blast off. I mean, you can bet you won't ever take your mask off, because China runs the show like they're kings of the catwalks. They knew everybody being quarantined, and that they go online to buy important things. So when they knew the world would need them, they sacrificed their people and began to adore me. Now I'm a killer, dancing on the world like Jackson in a Thriller, powerful and strong as a Coliseum pillar, about to turn to a butterfly from a caterpillar. I take your health away, give you pain, spine chiller. I'm the fulfiller of the prophecy. Well, maybe not. I'm crazy, so come rock with me. Just a small example for my apology. Just a little example of how the world will be when he comes again to say no hypocrisy. To tell you the truth, that's the real prophecy.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'll be reading my poem Under the Covers. Under the covers was the refuge from monsters in closets. Nightlight shone brightly, illuminating Disney-themed rooms and pushing out the only type of darkness we knew. Swung our bruised legs back and forth as we sat atop whatever structure we managed to climb. Begged to stay outside for just 15 more minutes. I promise I'll put away my toys tomorrow. Called each other best friends for life only 3 days after meeting, discussed in depth the difference between like and like life. Wasn't perfect, but the night before a school field trip, with outfits laid out and mom's voices ringing in our ears to go to sleep early, it certainly felt pretty close. How I missed the easy days of sparkly purple headbands, story time, and crisscross applesauce. Thinking Santa was real and nightmares couldn't occur during daylight. Under the covers remains a haven, but monsters stop confining themselves to closets, and sometimes it feels like there aren't enough nightlights in the world to brighten this darkness. I forget at times we're still young, still considered kids and envied for our lives without taxes or mortgages. The best 4 years of our life often don't feel very best-like, but I spent so much of these child years wishing for teen years, and I don't want to spend my teen years just wishing for adult years. I want to enjoy the eyeliner I'm now allowed to wear that I so badly craved at 7. Embrace the ability to sit in the front seat and get dinner unsupervised. Laugh at the fact I once considered middle schoolers big and now consider them small. Because while at times I feel so small, to little me I am so big and so cool, and I'm a teenager. That's all I ever really wanted.
Hi, I'm Gabe Classon. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Mr. Schaefer's first period AP Lit class. Today I've prepared a pair of 2 poems inspired by thoughts I've had while observing nature. This first poem came about in November, when I was sick and tired of doing all my homework and college applications in my basement, which is generally cold and dark, and the only windows to the outside world are at the bottom of a well. The weather was pretty nice, so I decided to grab my laptop and do some writing outside. I certainly wrote during that time, but I didn't get any of my work done, because I was so distracted by the way that particular atmosphere and moment made me feel that I just had to write it down. So here is something special about nothing special. There's something special about that temperate autumn day, where the sun neither glares nor hides away, where the air neither gusts nor stands still, where the ground neither muds nor bakes hard. It's like there's nothing there, Your skin disappears, and the outside becomes inside, while the birds sing a song whose lyrics you've forgotten. A story without setting, without plot, only feeling, only compulsion. This next poem comes from a years-old memory I have of seeing an osprey, which is, if you don't know, a fairly common bird of prey. Some of the actions and characteristics that I saw in it stuck with me over the years, and I only just recently expressed those feelings in writing. Here is Osprey. Osprey's perch stands impending above the brackish sound, higher, squarer, rounder than the trees nature made, a podium by man, for man to gawk at. No matter, Osprey sees all. On its tower the raptor supervises, from land to water, to land to sea. And when the wind blows and the time is right, Osprey takes flight. Over the dwelling dabbled forest, little more than dice cast on a bed of broccolini, Osprey circles the sky and rides the drafts, soaring, scouting for what only it knows. For a moment, it breaches the sun, and it is a thing of legend. The light passes through the feathers, and the feathers give way to the rays. Osprey burns brilliantly above the waves. But its moment passes, and the ashen gray underbelly swoops low to the cool, dirty turquoise that glints and glimmers, and with such grace flies full speed ahead into it, plunging its entirety deep below the surface. A fish out of water, it flies away with its shiny prize. One last time, Osprey climbs to the heavens, but its summit is short-lived, circling back down to the nest to nourish the little one it left behind, and to be secure in the knowledge that Osprey will fly again.